Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first official episode of Indiana Basketball Weekly. I'm one of your co-hosts, Steve Risley, member of the 1981 National Championship team, who, along with Isaiah Thomas, he and I combined for 26 points. I had 5, he had 21. That's legend and more, but I'm there. And we have another co-host with us tonight who is a legend in his own mind, and a member of the most recent Indiana basketball franchise who went through 2 coaches with Tom Crean and with the current Archie Miller. Collin Hartman, one of the favorite sons of IU basketball, Big Ten champion, all-around great guy, great high school player in the state of Indiana. Collin, welcome tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Steve.
Hey,
how you doing?
Guy. Pretty good. I'm doing great. Yeah, that's another beautiful day in California. It was 85 today, sunny, not a cloudless sky.
Always.
Watch the dogs play in the pool all day, and just living life out in Hollywood. You don't have money, it's not a lot of fun to live out here, but if you got money, it's a great place to be. So, Collin, Indiana opens up. When's the last time Indiana opened up 1-0? Did you guys win your first game every time you guys played?
The first game, yes.
Did you? You never lost to Fort Wayne in the first game of the season?
I don't know. Was that the first game?
I don't remember. I try and forget ugly things like that.
Short-term memory.
The short-term memory. They go short-term memory to come out. But
right.
I know you were at the game for at least part of the time. What
right.
did you think? You were there. You felt the intensity in the room. Is it there? I mean, what did you think?
I mean, I liked it. I think we got better. I mean, I didn't go to the exhibition games, but the people that I were with, one of them had gone to the exhibition game and just thought that the team looked more fluid, more comfortable. And even just looking at the stat line from last game to this game, you can tell that the guys are getting more comfortable. Guys like Romeo, Rob Finney, he's really surprised a lot of people just with his guard play, his stability, decision making, strength, defensive prowess. He's just an all around great player, and people are starting to figure that out. But I think guys have just got more comfortable. Evan Fissner had a big game. I think that throughout the last few weeks we've been talking about how Indiana is going to be set itself apart from other teams in the league and in the country is having 4, 5, 6 guys in double figures every night, and we have 4 guys I think in double figures.
Yes, we did.
And that's huge. It's hard to guard. You're gonna have guys like Romeo and most of the time Juwan Morgan, which we'll talk to about him here in a few minutes because that's obviously a topic of conversation. But you're going to have guys like Romeo and Juwan that are going to give you double figures every night. Maybe Evan or Devontae, or you never know, Rob Finney. I mean, all those guys are Justin Smith. I can keep going down the line. All these guys are capable scorers, and they can get 20 on any given night if you don't give them the respect that they deserve. So overall, I mean, long story short, I think the team really settling in, being very unselfish, and moving forward, just staying very versatile in our scoring and getting our defense together, which, Steve, I want you to touch on that and your opinion on the transition defense and everything of that nature, and then we can talk back and forth. But I think that we're getting settled in and getting comfortable with it.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's break it down into 2 thoughts. Let's talk about team concept first, and then we'll talk about individual players. How's that?
That works.
We can just kind of branch it off. Okay, team-wise, you're reading the post-game reports. I think this team, what impressed me about this basketball team already, as young as they are and as deep as they're playing, which means there's a lot of guys competing for minutes, is how unselfish this basketball team is offensively. You mentioned they put 4 kids in double figures, and one of them is not Juwan Morgan. He only scores 9 points in the game and does not get it. So you figure he's going to be, the rest of the season, he's going to be an automatic double-digit player. And I agree with you entirely. If you can put 4 to 5 kids in double digits, you're going to be really hard to beat because that just says you can spread the wealth, and this team has shown me no signs that that they don't want to spread the wealth. And again, Collin, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players who got double digits in minutes. And there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 players that got minutes. Now I understand it's a blowout, but you got 9 players who are getting double digit minutes. That's deep. That's depth. So I don't think this team's going to have an offensive problem scoring. They put up, 100 and what was the final score of the game?
104.
104.
55, yeah.
Although our boy Blackman, I understand, caught some grief for the last shot. But I can tell a kid who's getting no minutes and playing, and you tell him he can't shoot. I mean, I don't, you just got to let that go. That's just part of the game.
Well, the game's over. The kid's getting his opportunity, and Chicago State's going to get paid regardless. So. They're getting their money. That's the biggest paycheck that school will see all year, coming into Assembly Hall, playing on television and playing on national television. Because obviously, I caught the game out here in Los Angeles on the Big Ten Network. So, let him score. If it's one of your star players who's already drilled him for 40 points or something like that, then you might say, hey, look, show some decorum. But when you got a kid like Blackman who's played 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and he's trying to impress coaches and show them that he can play in the games too, I don't have an issue with that whatsoever, and neither should Chicago State. But offensively, I think that they're solid. They pass the ball. It just impresses me how well they're willing to give the ball up to each other. And here's the thing: you talk about in Indiana, 20 assists. Okay, I mean, 20 assists is a lot of assists in a ball game. Now, granted, they scored 104 points, but 20 assists is a big number. Given the fact that Chicago State only had 13 assists. So if they're got kids that are playing 9 deep, got kids that are playing that kind of minutes, and they're getting 20 assists in a ball game, offensively, I don't think it's a problem. Defensively, I think that right now we are stellar at this point for our development. We're not world class yet, but in terms of our perimeter defense, you've got so much skill and quickness out there that these guys, I mean, Finney, Devontae, and Romeo all have foot speed out the bajingas, and can just, what we've got to do is shore up our post defense with our inside guys to make sure that these guys can use their skill sets to take the risks that they're taking right now in what's really a meaningless game. But going for it, you want to keep that attitude going to put pressure on the perimeter, because if you can disrupt the offense, your opponent's offense up above the perimeter, up above the three-point line, you're taking them out of their game plan and out of their game, and they're struggling right off the bat just to get to the bucket. So that part of the game I really like. I think that the issue I had was something I think Miller brought up last night was transition. I still was struggling with seeing good transition. I thought that even for as weak as the team of Chicago State was, they were getting a lot of easy opportunities, a lot of bunnies, kind of layups. They weren't making a lot of them. I don't think they were a very talented basketball club. But it scares me that you get against a Michigan State or against a Duke coming up here pretty soon. You give them those kinds of opportunities, and they're just going to rip you to shreds. So what's your take on the post defense and the transition game? I mean, I think the post defense is one thing that we don't have a whole lot of size consistently. If you look at the minute distribution, you got Juwan and Justin, playing majority of the time. Evan Fitzner got obviously 16 minutes, but he's not a big banger. It's not what he's best at. So I think that we're going to have to be very creative with our schemes. We're going to have a lot of ball pressure so that the ball can't go into the post in the first place. And then we're going to have weak side help. The bigs are going to have to wall up, make them finish over, and the blocks are going to come from the weak side anyways. So it's just going to be a different dynamic, obviously, working with a smaller lineup majority of the time, but we're athletic. So I do like that. Like you said, the guard play on the wings is great just because the ball pressure, you keep the ball out of the lane. That's one thing that we do need to work on, though, is through transition and stuff of that nature. The guys were getting – Chicago State was getting to the rim more than I'd like to see. They just weren't finishing. I think that's where Coach Miller's frustration is coming from, because he's seeing forwards, playing teams like Duke and Marquette and Michigan State and the Big Ten and stuff like that. Those guys aren't going to miss those. Those guys are going to dunk the ball. So it's just seeing forward and him knowing that that's 2 points that we're giving up. Maybe not in a game like this, but it's definitely something we need to shore up in the future.
Yeah, and I think that perimeter positioning of taking away the lanes from up top is going to come with some exposure to the game a little more. You're talking about 2 freshmen, and Devontae a sophomore? He's a junior, isn't he?
Devontae's a junior.
He's a junior, yeah. So, but he hasn't really gotten an overabundance of minutes.
Right.
He was a on and off player, so we still are pretty young in our backcourt, and I think those guys, the more they get exposed to cutting those passing lanes off, and Coach Miller, who's considered to be a defensive coach, puts good defensive programs in place, I think they'll learn that quickly. What we need to do is make sure that our post play is more than adequate.
Right.
And they need to be reliable. I don't think right now we're built to have great big post defensive players. I think Fissner becomes a key to this program. He continues to show me that the kid's got game and can play. Obviously, Juwan has got tremendous athleticism. And everybody else, has to get in the game. Smith and those guys just got to get more and more physical, because we're not overly big in there, but we are athletic and we are quick. Fissner all of a sudden just becomes an asset that I didn't know that we were going to have, to the luxury of what we're going to have with him. I mean, he can score. He moves fairly well for a guy his size. I hope what they're working on right now is toughening him up a little bit and making him a little bit more of a banger than he is right now. But in the early part of the season, I hope that what he's working on is staying focused on his perimeter defense, taking away lanes, learning to get into position. Your help side is critical. It's a great observation on your part. And with that only happens, the whole defense only works with one word, and that's communication.
Right.
And you were at the game, so you're hearing better than we are, because we're listening to all the idiot broadcasters, the yak all the whole way through, and not hearing it. Are you hearing good communication from the players or seeing it? You feel that's developing the way it should be at this point in time?
I think it is. I think it's really it's obviously in the early stages, and as those guys mature, they need to do it very quickly. But a couple of people that I hear it from very frequently, that I saw are the guys that you expect it from. Juwan, Zach McRoberts for sure. Zach is always pointing and talking and navigating traffic and all the defend and all of our team when we're getting back in transition, and I think that it's going to come with confidence. And I think it's going to come very soon. You'll see guys like Rob Finnessy. I think he has all the confidence in the world right now, and he should. I think that will continue to grow with him just playing solid basketball, and guys will start looking to him to, Coach Miller's going to put him in the point guard spot. He's going to have to be a leader. It doesn't matter how old you are. You say all the time how Isaiah was a leader, and it doesn't matter how old he was. Yes, all the captains were seniors, but Isaiah he led that team. And that's what point guards do. It's just inherently that's comes with the territory of being a point guard. You have the ball in your hands, blah, blah, blah. You know all that. I think that Rob's going to have to step into that role. I think Devontae is going to have to step into that role vocally. Overall, as a team, like you said, communication is the number one thing on the court that can make a team better overnight.
Definitely. Yeah. I think like I said, the athleticism is there. It's working together as well defensively as they are offensively. I think offensively, they're working very well together. It's evident by putting up 104 points and 20 assists, shooting 56%. Means you're not taking a lot of bad shots.
Right.
They're working to get good shots. If you're shooting 56% with a bunch of freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, and really Juwan you're only really upperclassmen, I guess, McRoberts. But both those guys haven't taken a lot of shots yet in the season. So these young guys they're being patient. They're looking for good shots, and I think they're getting them, which I like a lot. Defensively, they're going to have to keep developing the communication, but I think that just comes with experience, being on the court, playing against a team that's at a higher caliber than them, which is some of the things I don't like about opening up with a Chicago State or a Montana State, or something like that. A team that you can go drill just by your athleticism. And I think you don't quite learn as much from those games, but you also don't put yourself at risk as much either.
Yeah.
So it's a win. It's a risk-reward thing for you. There's good sides on both sides of it, but you want to make sure that you're ready for Louisville, Marquette, and obviously Duke coming up here pretty soon.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's just run down the list of the players. Let's just go down Justin Smith. What do you think?
I think he's going to be a phenomenal player for us this year.
Do you really? And why do you think that?
I mean, I think that
you have to give depth. Just what's his talent? What's his contribution to the team?
He's a freak athlete. He's strong, very, very strong legs. I mean, he floats. He kind of plays like OG in a way. Built like OG. Maybe even a little stronger up top when OG was in college. I mean, he's just built like that. He's athletic like that. I think he's somewhat of a matchup problem, and maybe even a guy that can guard bigger guys just because his legs are so strong that he can still hold his ground. And he's one of those guys that I think will come on the weak side and be able to block shots off the ball. Yeah,
I agree. I agree there. Juwan, I don't think we need to talk a lot about Juwan. I mean, I think he's just. He's in a situation right now where he hasn't had to engage yet, is my belief, because we know how talented a basketball player that young man is, and I just don't think I just think he hasn't really had to go engage, and I think he's really getting into playing in the team concept, not maybe consciously but subconsciously, because like I said, it's the second time he hasn't taken double-digit shots in a game, which we're going to need that. We're going to need him putting up 10 to 20 shots a game in the Big Ten season for us to be successful. But I don't think that's an issue with him. I think he's a package. He's a complete player. What I really like about Juwan is 5 offensive rebounds. That means he's going to the boards hard offensively, and that tells me he's going to scrap points in for you a lot. If you're getting, of our 52 rebounds, 5 of them, 1/10 of them were his offensive rebounds, and I love that. I mean, that's one of the things that makes any coach feel good about letting that kid play as many minutes as he wants to. If he's going to the boards hard offensively, crashing the boards, and doing that, that's great. So I'm fine there. Talking about Romeo, what do you think? What do you think about Romeo?
So the thing is, after the IU game, I made it up to the Duke-Kentucky game. Obviously, everybody saw the scores and all the stat lines and stuff like that. Romeo, in my opinion, needs to play more like R.J. Barrett for Duke. And here's why. Because he has all the skill set in the world. He has the physique. He's feeling it out too much rather than having the killer mindset. Straight attack mode, killer mindset. I'm getting the rim. You're not stopping me. If I want to get to from point A to point B, there's no way you're stopping me. If I want to, just changing his mindset to be more like R.J. Barrett, and it became more eye-opening to me that, R.J. Barrett, in my opinion, doesn't have anything that Romeo doesn't have.
Right.
It's just a mindset thing. I think Romeo is feeling it out. I think he's feeling out what's best for the team and where he fits in instead of, he has to find that fine line of taking over and then kind of being a team player when, in turn, taking over might be what's best for the team in certain situations. So it's just, it was just eye-opening to me seeing guys like Zion and R.J. Barrett play like they did last night when Romeo has all of the intangibles that they do.
Right. And Romeo has. I went into the season with Romeo Langford. I didn't see him play in high school. Obviously, being out here in Los Angeles, we didn't get a lot of coverage. We heard about him. We read the hype. So I kind of went into it trying hard not to judge a book by its cover. But I'll tell you, the kid's impressed the heck out of me. I think Indiana will be more than lucky if they keep him 2 years. You could be looking at a 1-year package here, and we don't want to talk about that. But is it better, in your opinion, and you played in this system, so you know Coach Miller, you know the system. Is it better for him to go and try and establish that dominance or that playability right now, or kind of ease his way into it, kind of work the respect up so much more than just go do it now where you might alienate some players? Because they're going 9 deep right now. And if he's out there hogging the ball, and you got fantasy, you got to develop now. You want the ball in Devontae Green's hands, and I think Devontae Green is going to be the point guard for this basketball team. We'll get to him in a minute. But I don't know that I want him necessarily being that assertive yet. I want him working toward that assertion, but I'm okay with the way he's playing right now. I thought he had great shot selection. He penetrates. He's got a first step that's as quick as anybody I've seen in an Indiana uniform in a long time. I mean, he can go when he wants to go. I just don't know if he's wanting to go right now because he's either a great team player or he's a little uncertain of himself at this level, one or the other. But I'm okay with the slow development progress until we get to Louisville, Marquette, and Duke. Then you're going to want him to assert. But, what's your thoughts on that?
You see, the more I went through college basketball, the more I realized it's a business. And the more that I realized college basketball is a results-oriented business. So I think that, it's a gamble for him.
Well, I don't know that he's consciously doing it. I don't know. I don't know the kid. You know the kid. Maybe you've talked to him. I've never seen him in person, so I'm just going off of touch and feel of being in the game for 45 years and being around the IU basketball program and seeing kids play at the college level. I'm just going off. I'm okay with what he's doing right now, and I don't know that he's consciously doing it. I haven't spoken to the kid, so I don't know what his mental personality is. I don't think he's an idiot, but that's not what I'm going at. I'm just saying what his basketball acumen is in terms of he doesn't want to come out and be disruptive. He sees the positive of it, and maybe he's a much better team player than we're giving him credit to be. And
he is.
In the long run. Yeah, maybe in the long run more important than him being a great individual player. We know he's a great individual player.
Right. I think it's just as I've heard from a lot of people. I've had very short conversations with him, nothing super extensive, but I've heard from a lot of people that that's just kind of his personality. And he's really reserved.
Yeah. What's coming from?
And he is a team player. He is 100% a team player.
It's coming from.
Yeah. And so, the kid's doing the right thing as a freshman should. But he has to realize that his teammates have to instill the confidence in him and not hold him back when it's time to let him go. When it's time to.
I think that's going to happen. I got a sense that's not going to happen just because of the shot selection he's been taking offensively, the effort he's making defensively in the perimeter to make plays happen. Every time this kid's on the court, he's trying to make plays. He's trying to affect the outcome of the game.
Right.
I don't see him. Like I would say right now, Juwan hasn't made his great effort to affect the outcome of the game, but he hasn't really needed to. And, again, I don't know if that's subconscious or not either. But all I've seen of Romy, and I've watched minute to minute, front and end, the back end of both games so far. So I've seen both, 80 minutes of Indiana basketball so far. And I see every time Langford's on the court, he's trying to affect the outcome of the game. And I love that. And he's not doing it in a selfish manner at this point. Now, we're going to want him to be selfish. You're right. There's going to come a point in time against Duke. We want him. He's got to be as selfish as he can be.
Right.
Because that's a buzzsaw waiting to happen. And Kentucky found that out the hard way last night. We'll get to that, maybe towards the end of the show. But, with great pleasure, we'll get to that.
With pleasure.
With pleasure. But I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I have seen nothing that scares me about Romeo Langford yet, except for the fact that we probably aren't going to have him more than 2 years at max.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that scares me about him. Anything else?
I don't think we
I
will.
like him as a player. He's a great addition to this program. He's a great addition to Indiana's basketball lore, and I think he's going to live up to it in every way possible. I haven't seen a flaw in him yet. I just haven't seen a flaw, but he isn't a challenge. But let's see. Fantasy, I'll just say this about Fantasy, and I'll let you talk about it. To me, he's the surprise of the season so far.
Yep.
I think we all hyped on Langford, and we knew his skin was good, but there was so much hype on Langford that he kind of flew in under the radar screen. So I think he's the biggest surprise of Indiana basketball so far, and I don't see any reason why it's not going to continue until we just come to expect what he's doing now. Right now we don't expect it, but we're getting it. So what do you think?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the dude plays hard. I think a lot of times dudes come in and they play nonchalant, try to play cool. You know, you're on national television every night. It's cool, blah, blah, blah. I don't think he has an ounce of nonchalant in him, and I think that's his best attribute. Just because he goes, you know, balls to the wall all the time, offense, defense, takes care of the ball, makes open shots. Especially from a young point guard, you can't really ask for much more. I think he's going to be a great player for us. Continues to develop, obviously, throughout this year, and do great things for this team. Real basketball fans, I mean, they notice that kind of stuff. They notice the stuff that it doesn't go on the stat sheet. And I definitely see Rob being one of the guys that does stuff on the stat sheet and not on the stat sheet. So you can't ask much more from a point guard.
Yeah, I'm just looking across. He only took 4 shots, but he hit, and they were quality shots. But he hits both his free throws. But he delivers 5 assists. 5 of the 20 assists come from him in 20 minutes playing time. So
how many turnovers? How many turnovers did he have?
Fantasy had 2 turnovers, which it's okay. He's handled the ball.
Yeah, and we had 5 assists.
Yeah, 5 assists and 2 turnovers. I'm fine with that. And he's 500, and it's 2 from the free throw line. That's not a yeoman effort. That's an outstanding effort for a kid coming in and a freshman playing at this level of college basketball. So, I have no issues or problems with him. He's part of that defensive perimeter that's playing out there. I wonder how much, and you could address this. We saw a fair amount of Langford, Fantasy, and Devontae out playing together. Are we going to see a lot of that this year, do you think?
A small lineup.
It's hard to guard. It's hard to guard that kind of speed.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. If you run into a team that's got a 2 or a 3 that's 6'7", I mean, they're gonna run right to the post. So it's gonna be all matchup related. The
but do we have the bulk inside? Do we have the bulk inside to play with dudes? Are we gonna have to attack them with our guards?
Right.
Is it gonna be like, well, we don't have the strength to play Duke inside because they're just bigger, faster, and stronger in the post than we're going to be. But yet, if we're like a bunch of, PT boats going after an aircraft carrier, we can swarm them and run around them and torpedo them and hit and run and go.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting. But, McRoberts, the kid just gives you an effort every minute he's on the court.
You know what you're getting. And he's making open shots now, so.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He was 2 for 2. 2 for 2, yeah. 2 3-pointers.
You know what you're getting from Rick Roberts.
You what?
You know what you're getting from him every night.
And he leads the team in rebounds with 7 rebounds, which means he's just scrapping all over the place. He's not the most talented, athletic. I would say talented. He's very talented, but he's not the most athletic kid on that basketball team, let's face it. He's more in my mold than he is in Langford's mold. And I won't speak for you because I always thought you were a great athlete.
Thanks.
But, he pulls down 7 rebounds. Makes a great effort out there playing. And, I think he's the kid you can put in the game and know he's never going to hurt you when he's in the game. And he's always going to make things happen. He's going to make things happen. So I think he's just a stalwart. He's a great, just a rock that Coach Miller can just count on every time. Fissner. Talk about Fissner. That's kid surprising me.
I knew what we were getting when we got Fissner.
The fact that he's engaging.
Well, he's a fifth-year senior. He better engage.
Yeah, well, he's coming into he's from where, the East Coast. Where was he at? Out in the East Coast? St. Mary's or something like that, or was that where he came from?
Yeah.
Somewhere like that. I mean, but he comes into 18,000 idiot fans. The Legend of War, 5 banners hanging there. The Indiana University. And, I mean, that will intimidate a lot of kids. It intimidates a lot of players who aren't coming in as fifth-year seniors.
Right.
But I tell you what, he looks very comfortable out there. Shoots 5 for 6. Pulls down 6 rebounds in 15 minutes. And, again, just every time you see him on the court, you see him looking to score, looking to make contributions offensively. I think he's scrappy defensively. I'd like to see him get him in the weight room and bulk him up. If you can, but now may not be the time to do that. That may be something to work on over the summer.
Right.
I don't know if you want to start working on weights with kids right now. So, but
you can.
I think this kid's going to be a real surprise, and he's going to shore up the inside play, take a lot of the pressure off Morgan. What do you think?
I think he's got a great touch around the rim. I think the best thing about him is going to be able to put him and Juwan in at the same time, and make a 5 guard one of those two, just because they can both step out and knock down threes. They can both put it on the floor a little bit, and for myself, sophomore year I started center at 6'6", 205, sopping wet, and I had my initial career high against Maryland when they were good, but I started at the 5, hit 5 threes that game or something like that, and the 5-man could not keep up with me. And when I'd beat him off the dribble, you find open guys for dunks, for threes, whatever. I think that's going to be a big thing for us, to be able to play those two at the same time, and give us that versatility.
Yeah, and what are they listing Fisher at? 6'10"? Are they listing him at 6'10"?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's tall. He's a tall dude.
Yeah, he's tall. Yeah, he's probably the tallest player on the team. Other than maybe Davis. Is Davis taller than him or not?
They're probably looking each other in the eyes. If you count Duran's hair, Duran's probably got him beat.
But here's a kid Fisher who's 1 for 2 for 3. I mean, I swear to God, I would have never taken a 3-point shot. I just
different game.
Yeah, different game. It's a different game. But for him at 6'10", to have the courage to go out there and take a 3-point shot. He's 1 for 2, so he's got range. He can shoot.
He's a shooter. He is knockdown.
Yeah, I can see a lot of him. He and Morgan and McRoberts platooning inside, and then you got your 3 guards up top and play, and then everybody else filling in and supporting. As you start to pare down your rotation just a little bit, I can see that beginning to happen. I think Fisher's going to work his way into the lineup probably unexpectedly quicker than a lot of other people that we didn't expect to be part of the lineup.
Well, it's going to be watch. You'll see it countless times this year. We're going to clear out the backside corner, we're going to clear out the backside corner, run a high side screen for a pick and pop for Evan, because at the end of the day, that baseline guy's got to make a decision: is he going to go run all the way to the corner to Evan for a 3, or is he going to stay with his man? Because either way, he's either throwing it back to the corner to Evan, or he's skipping it to the other corner to the baseline guy who's trying to help. You have to make those guys make decisions, and Evan's going to be a guy that's going to be able to stretch the floor like that and put the defense on their heels and put them in a bad spot.
Ball handling skills? I mean, I always consider you to be a very good ball handler for a kid your size. Does he have those kinds of ball handling skills? Because if you can dribble drive, penetrate from down there, you wreak all kinds of havoc, because big guys aren't going to be able to guard somebody that size who can handle the rock.
Right, and especially when you don't really have to have a whole lot of great ball skills. When a big guy is guarding you, you just have to be able to drive in straight lines, attack the hip, drive right by them. They're not quick laterally, so you just have to get by them with that first step. So I mean, I think he's fully capable of doing that. It's just a matter of getting comfortable with it and knowing the decision-making process that comes after you make it past the big and the guards help, whether to keep it or whether to dish it.
Yeah. All right, well, one more player I want to talk about kind of a little bit of depth. And the other two, I mean, Davis and Anderson, I thought, they're going to be good filler role players. Anderson surprised me. He seems to be a very good shooter.
He can shoot.
He's not afraid to take a shot. He can shoot lights out. And he's kind of you put him in for a stretch, and he's going to pop 3 or 4 threes for you real quick and get you back in a game real quick. And he ignites the crowd.
Right.
And get the crowd excited. That's where I see his role really is fitting. He got 20 minutes, last night. But what stands out with me is he's a confident shooter, which any team needs that one guy that you can pull in off the bench, kind of like a Todd Leary was or something like that. Used to play at Indiana, or whoever you had in your day which is a guy you just bring him in and he just comes out and drains 2 or 3 3-pointers for you. You kind of did that for Indiana a couple of years. Just put him in, and when you were hurt and not getting the minutes you wanted to get, but you come in and boom, 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 there's Collin with 9 points in a matter of 5 minutes, and then our favorite coach would pull you back out of the game. Like, why are you taking him out of the game? Let him keep shooting until he misses. Gee, Merry Christmas, but what do I know? What do I know? And then Duran, Duran's got to keep just working on his game and getting a smarter basketball player, I think.
Right.
Athletically, I think he's fine. He's big. He's going to do what he needs to do. He just has to become smarter. And I'll tell you what, this appears to me to be a smart basketball team. So for him to get minutes and make contributions, because I think Fitzger's a smart player. McGar's a smart player. Juwan's a smart player. This team is going to be predicated on a lot of intelligence playing the game because our guards are smart. And then the last player I really want to talk about is Devontae. What's your take on Devontae?
Devontae's Devontae. I mean, the dude, I'll say it. I'll say it. Go ahead.
No, I just let him. Go ahead. I'm saying I'm a fan of this.
I mean, he's great. I mean, I love the dude. Really, really charismatic person in the locker room and off the court. I mean, I'll say it again. He's like Troy Williams. When you get good Devontae, you're going to get great Devontae. When you get bad Devontae, you're going to be ripping your hair out a little bit. But I am 100% confident that we're going to get good Devontae more than not, which will be great for this team. Knocking down shots, making big shots. He has no problem. He's from New York. He does not care to take the big shot. He will gladly be the one to do it and shoot with confidence. That's the thing for him that he has no problem with. So I think down the road, I mean, he sees the floor well. Last night he had a couple of turnovers, but they were somewhat nonchalant, but they were the right looks, just not the right way to make the pass. So it's just, I mean, it's the little things that he knows what he's doing. He just, needs to be a 100% confident and 100% locked in at all times.
Here's my fear with Devontae. What I can see happening, it started to happen some last year, is he plays a loosey-goosey, what I call, style of basketball.
Yeah, that's New York.
He's going to make mistakes. Yeah, he plays street ball to some degree. New York street ball to some degree. And I hope that what Coach doesn't do is start to put a leash on him and try and rein him in and collar him in. Let him go. I mean, he has 3 assists. He makes 4 turnovers. But the turnovers that he made, I thought, was trying to get the ball into the post, trying to get it inside. I didn't see any really, he took a couple of risky passes, but I think you need to have that kind of artistry on your team. It's another facet of a basketball team. If you've got that kind of artist who will do that. Isaiah was kind of that way. I mean, Isaiah took a lot of risks. And, I mean, he just, he completed a lot, but he threw the ball away a lot too. Mostly because we weren't ready for what he was doing. But to me, he possesses that same quick first step. I think Romeo. I was impressed at how fast he goes to the hole.
Yeah,
and I think
he's
the worst
explosive.
mistake that Indiana can make right now is to start to try and rein in Devontae. I'd give him minutes. I'd let him play. I think he's part of a combination of guards right now that could end up being maybe the best backcourt in the Big Ten. I don't know, between the three of them, you're going to have one any better. And you can throw McRoberts up in there some too. Zach's capable of playing up there on the perimeter. He plays that perimeter well. He hustles. When he lacks in speed and quickness the other guys have, he makes up in hustle and effort. So I hate to disrupt that, and I hope they let him just kind of freeform it and kind of be that artist for the basketball team, which I think that Romeo's going to turn into too. So the rest of the guys, it's going to be crazy when you – go ahead. No, I was just say the rest of the guys that we need to break down individually, they're scrapping for minutes. So I can tell you right now, when he gets this rotation pared down to those 8 or 9 kids, it's going to be tough for anybody to get significant minutes as they get into serious games because there's a lot of talent out there. Well, the crazy thing is, there's no reason to go any deeper than the 8 or 9 kids that are going to be playing a lot. Right, and the crazy thing is, Al Durham hasn't even played yet, and Al was the most improved player this summer. Right. Yeah, he's playing this summer, right? Yeah, he's right. So it's going to be very interesting. Yeah, it will. Any coach will tell you it's a good problem to have. Yeah, it's better than the other way around. It's not like you're trying to find 5 bodies put on the court, which in many of the years since the mid '80s, Indiana struggled to do. But right now, there's a plethora of talent out there, and that's a big word, plethora. I heard you. That from Indiana Kelley School of Business taught me that word, plethora. You don't get that if you go to SPIA. Hey, calm down. Wait, your degree in SPIA? Well, master's from Kelley, but whatever. Yeah, you got a master's. All right, so you're smarter than I am. Hell, you invented the word plethora, probably. Right? Oh my goodness. But it's all good. I think it's a fine basketball team. I hope he coaches them hard but does it in a positive way right now because the team's showing a lot of character early, a lot of cohesiveness early, and they've got the same flaws that every college basketball team in the country has right now of communication and just getting to know each other better, being more comfortable with each other on the basketball court. But what's going to happen here pretty quick is the expectations are going to rise from this basketball team real fast. Yep. And from there, we just hope that it doesn't turn into we get down on them for not meeting our expectations. They are a young team, and they're going to have impact in the Big Ten. I mean, they're going to have impact. And I'm not going to go any farther than that right now. Make any bold predictions. I hate preseason polls and things like that. They don't mean anything. Obviously, Kentucky found that out pretty hard last night. So, yeah, they did. Anything else about Indiana before we switch over and kind of break down the first night of college basketball real quick before we get off this radio mess? No, I'm good. Anything else about Indiana? Looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the team growing. Coaching staff doing what you think they should be doing? You happy with the coaching staff? Yeah. Oh, 100%. I love that staff down there. I love those guys as people and as coaches and as a cohesive unit. It's unreal. They put together a really, really, really good group of dudes down there. Yeah, I wasn't sure that what Archie's tactics were for getting on Blackman for taking the 3 at the end of the game. I mean, I don't know. I don't know whether you do that. If it's a kid that's one of your star players who filled 40 points on somebody in the game and he fires it up, it's like, okay, you really don't need to be doing that. Show some class. But for a kid like Blackman who's playing 5-6 minutes, I think I played 2.5 minutes, and to fire it up and let it go, you just kind of let that go. And maybe you don't say anything public about it. You say, hey, maybe think of the reputation we're leaving on the floor. We're drilling the team by double digits. That's as bad as we are. But that's just something to pick on them about because there's nothing else to pick on them about. That's all that is. I have no problem with it. Coaching, I have no problem with it at all. Takes a shot. Chicago State shouldn't have any problem with it. It didn't come from a star player who was trying to rub anybody's face. It came from a kid who is fighting for minutes as bad as anybody else is, and probably under more scrutiny because of his last name, and you let that go. And if you do anything, you talk to him in practice about the next day. Just tell him, hey, next time, give some thought, to the whole process, bigger picture. So college basketball opens up last night.
Yeah.
What do you think? Let's
I'm
start
excited.
with
I think
white elephant in the room. What, Kansas or Duke and North Carolina, or Duke and Kentucky?
Yeah, I was at that game. That was a cool game. For the first
It's cool
few
because
minutes.
why? Because Kentucky got grilled.
Yeah, I mean, it was a decent game for the first 5 minutes, and then it was all downhill from there, or uphill, however you want to view it. I don't think that the NCAA this year is going to be. I don't think it's out of the question that we can, have a Final Four and have a, make it to the final game type of season. There's no reason that we can't do that after seeing supposedly some of the top 4 teams in the country play last night too. So I don't think that they're that much. They're all that everybody hypes them up to be. So I'm excited about the year, dude.
Are we going to go ahead and anoint Duke the national championship? I mean,
Heck no.
It's 51% luck to win the thing. Trust me, I know. It's 50.1% luck that involves you winning it, because by the time you get there, all the teams are incredibly talented. There's no doubt, but it takes luck. Luck is the one factor you just can't predict, control, or do anything with. But
right.
Are we after this first appearance and looking at these kids on the Duke team, are we anointing them pretty much number 1 ranking all year in the national championship? Is there
a lot of people will. I don't think they should. No. I mean, there's so much basketball to be played. Like you said with luck, you got to keep it. You got to keep the team healthy.
Right. That's the number one.
You have a couple of those guys go down. Heaven forbid. Never wish that on anybody. It can happen to anybody on any team. That your whole season changes. So I mean, I'm not anointing anybody anything. They've played 1 game. Yes, they're very talented. There's no question about that. You can't argue that. But, why play any more games kind of mindset? No way.
Yeah. How much – I don't know if I want to take you down this road. Is this team bought? Is this team bought? Or is
man.
I mean, we talked about it today on Survive and Advance a little bit, and we're a little more – a little more down on the NCAA than we probably want to be on this program. But is it a little hard to believe that you can put this kind of freshman talent together on one basketball team without taking into account the current environment in college basketball right now? Or do we just say Krzyzewski's just that good?
I don't know. I mean, it's 50-50 thing, dude. In my opinion, I mean, it's 50-50 at the end of the day with all the stuff that's going on. It's not like it just started going on. Obviously, there's been a history of it. I think the NCAA is scared to crack down on certain guys just because it's not, they're such a staple to the NCAA. But at the end of the day, man, whatever.
You can't. Let's not go down that road any farther on this program, because I really want this to be about Indiana basketball and what's good about college basketball. I think right now Indiana's good. We have other shows that we can bring that up on. But what this tells me is, the only thing I'll add to this, and it's something we talk about on Survive and Advance every day, our daily show that we do, is that there needs to be some kind of profit sharing, or I was going to stick to the word profit sharing for players in college sports now.
Yep.
I mean, it eliminates these kind of questions that I just asked you, whether they are or not. If you just put it on the table and say, yes, this is what they get compensated. In this way, they get profit sharing. It varies from university to university, obviously. Or whatever the geniuses are that figure out the fair way to do it. But by not addressing the elephant in the room at all, this is the question that you get, and it really takes away from Duke. I mean, that's a hell of a basketball team.
Yes,
but by the NCAA not addressing it at all, and I think it just really takes away from the whole program. It takes them away from what they may accomplish this year, because there's always going to be that question and that doubt in your mind. So if you just find some way to get them into the profit sharing program, and you don't have to compensate them while they're at the university. We've had this discussion with a lot of people. My suggestion has always been you give them a money market CD each year they progress toward their college degree. And you take an arbitrary amount, say, just for argument's sake, say $5,000. And every scholarship athlete in a profit, the revenue generating sport, gets that money. But he doesn't get the money. It's put into a money market CD. And once he gets his degree, upon graduation in 4 years, or like your case, 5 years, you get that money. It's yours to do with what you want to. But you're basically doing some profit sharing, and it's up on the table. Everybody knows what it is. You're getting taxed on it. Therefore, you got to deal with the IRS. It's all legitimate on board. I think it takes a lot of these silly, stupid questions that I just asked, which is a silly, stupid question. But in this environment, you can't ignore it.
It has to be asked, because everybody's thinking it.
I mean, look what Kansas is going through right now. They left their top prize recruit out last night because there's questions now about what he's gotten. And Zion Williams, his dad claimed that he went to Kansas and asked for compensation.
Yep.
So then he turns it down and shows up at Duke with 4 other great players, and Krzyzewski comes out and says it's an anomaly, this whole thing about cheating in basketball. It's not an anomaly. It's not a single occurrence of an event out of the norm that's happening. It goes on everywhere.
Right.
So anyway, and I don't really want to address it any farther than that. I watched UCLA play last night. Watched them play Fort Wayne. They, unlike many of the Indiana great teams the last several years, managed to find a way to beat Fort Wayne. So
funny.
Well, they were smart. They played Fort Wayne in Los Angeles, not in Fort Wayne. So,
yeah,
if you're going to play a team like that, play them at home at least. So you walk out of there with a victory. But Michigan State, Kansas looked pretty good. And they handled Michigan State pretty well. So, but Michigan State's a team with Izzo that they build all year long. You don't ever worry about a Michigan State team until Big Ten tournament time, really, because Izzo is the master at finding the opportunity and time to peak his team, and there's probably nobody who's gotten more out of less than him. But anybody else out there in North Carolina won? Anybody else impression? Did Gonzaga play last night? Did Zaga? Gonzaga?
Not sure.
Not sure if they did or not either. I didn't really look over the scores a lot. But, obviously the heyday was Duke and how dominating they were over Kentucky. Maybe Kentucky's overrated to some degree, but Duke looked like men playing amongst boys. And I know you were at that game.
Oh, yeah.
So we go Friday and we play against Montana State. Is that correct?
I think so.
Yeah. We don't know much about them. They're 1-0. I think they won their first game. Other than that, I think they did. I was trying to find some information on them. I really couldn't find much. Don't know much about them, but I think this is going to be just another throwback to Chicago State, another great opportunity to solidify what these kids accomplished last night. And to keep building on that as we head into more. Because, the Big Ten season starts really about a month, 5 weeks. So we get into the Big Ten season.
It's quick.
Yeah, it's quick. Yeah, so we don't have a lot of – it used to be we'd wait until mid-January to really play Big Ten basketball, which is your bread and butter. I mean, that's what you want to be winning and get yourself seeded for the tournaments and winning those games and your conference championships and everything. So you don't have that luxury right now. So we'll come back and we'll do a show probably – I don't know if we'll do it right after Montana State or not. I don't know if it's quite worth it to do one there. But we'll see what goes on. But we'll definitely be back next week. And they play the next Wednesday. Marquette, which will be a big game. So we might even postpone it to our show next Thursday night or something that works for everybody so we can get a real good look, which will be kind of and I don't know how good Marquette is. Do you know anything about Marquette?
No, I haven't really looked into it yet.
I haven't known much about Marquette since Bo Ellis and Al McGuire.
I would assume they have a decent team.
Yeah, they should.
So, we'll see.
I can make a couple jokes here, but I won't, so I'll let it go. Anything else, Collin? I mean, what you take away from the team? Are you pleased with the progress?
Yep. I'm looking forward to moving forward in the season, letting dudes develop.
Yeah, if things keep going the path they're going, I think his team's going to be fairly relevant by mid-January.
That's the goal.
Duke is obviously that'll kind of be the litmus test to see really where we are in the process. We're obviously not at Duke's level. We know that.
No.
And we've got to go to Cameron. Is it Cameron? They're in Cameron Indoor Arena, aren't they?
Yeah.
And not the Dean Dome. So, but we got to go there to play, which makes it all the more worse. But I think we'll see how we handle that kind of the highest intensity level of pressure that's out there right now, and that'll be interesting to watch. So with that, I think we've covered the game. We talked about it. I like what I see. You like what you see. Did you miss Mike tonight? Did you miss Mike at all?
Not a bit. We might just cut Mike out.
Yeah, we just, you know what? Yeah, we're giving him 33% of everything we make, which 33% of zero is still zero. So, but I don't know. We're giving 30% of our airtime, and I like listening to you a lot better. So, if Mike even, he's going to post this and edit it. It'll be posted later on tonight. But I don't know. Maybe we just take a double secret vote here and just say, who needs Mike? If nothing else, we'll rip him the next show for sure. But he had other commitments to do tonight. He needed to take care of it. So we did good. Thanks for your input.
You as well.
Look forward to a great season. And with that, we'll be back on the air probably next Thursday night, which I think we'll hold off till Thursday, maybe do a game because we will have played 2 games by then. Marquette and Montana State. We'll get kind of a really good feel, be able to really talk about something a little differently. But you're not going to have much to talk about after Montana State, I'm guessing, that you didn't have to talk about tonight. You're going to probably see a lot of the same thing.
Right.
Yep. Okay, Collin, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll be on thegrilliantruth.net. It'll be posted here in a couple hours. Those of you that nobody's listening live because we're not taping it live right now. So the hell with that. We'll post it in a couple hours. That's it. Goodbye, everybody. Bye, Collin.
See ya.